Alright, and welcome to another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I am your host, Shiro-chan. Today is Sunday, June 16th, 2019. Got a lot of cool stuff from E3 to go over, as well as a few things from the Yugioh franchise. So let's get right down to it, shall we? In Yu-Gi-Oh! News, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution sees North American cover and more screenshots of gameplay. Last week, we saw the release of the North American cover art for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution, and this week, we see some extra screenshots of gameplay from the game itself, including the new Link monsters, as well as some storyline screenshots. I'll make sure to put these images in the show notes, but looking to be pretty cool images. You see some of the images of actual gameplay, some of the storyline cutscenes, as well as some of the monster summoning cutscenes. I'm pretty interested. I know a lot of you are too. I've personally already paid almost half of my pre-order amount for this game at GameStop. And I can't wait to see what happens next, what else they release before the game actually comes out. Also in Yu-Gi-Oh! News, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist lets you swap the card art. Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist also includes tutorials for the various different rule sets used in the game, so if you don't know how to play, it's a pretty solid way to do so. After all, unlike games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is notoriously difficult to learn to play because of the multiple card phases, summoning rules, and sheer number of cards. However, the game's card battle system is, well, a bit lackluster. The UI is pretty basic, but the control scheme is more difficult than it needs to be, and the animations for using cards are, well, super basic. The biggest surprise with the game is something you might not notice if you don't play around with the game's localization versions. Unfortunately, playing the game in English will mean you have to deal with the English dub versions of the character names, but if you swap the game into Japanese, you get an additional surprise. Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game has been around for about 20 years now, which means it has several different variants of many cards, and some of those are only available in the Japanese version of the game. Because the card art is different for the Japanese version, when you swap the game's language settings to Japanese, you get the official Japanese card art. Meanwhile, the English version of the game has the card art that was included in the worldwide release of the game, which is pretty awesome for fans of the game, but it does mean you'd have to play through battles with the entire game and user interface in Japanese, which might be a bit tricky for those of you who don't know how to read Japanese. Legacy of the Duelist is available now on PC, PS4, and Xbox. Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution will be releasing on the Switch on August 20th of this year. That's pretty much all I have for Yu-Gi-Oh! News this week. On to the next segment. Before we get into our next segment, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey everybody, I really do hope you love Hazardous Verbal Waste. Did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know, it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered this free new app called PodCoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to podcasts, and you earn PodCoin while you listen. Then you turn that PodCoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks. Or if you're a good person, you could even donate that PodCoin to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn. So here's what you do. Download the app right now on iPhone or Android, and I have a special code for you. Simply use our code HAZARDOUS, and you'll get 300 PodCoin just for signing up. And if you listen to enough of us on there, you can get a cappuccino at Starbucks or an Amazon gift card on us. So go ahead and go listen to this podcast or virtually any podcast on PodCoin and sign up with code HAZARDOUS. I swear it'll change the way you listen to podcasts. Before we get into this week's E3 coverage, or lack thereof, I just wanted to bring you guys a few promos from a couple of shows that I've been finding very interesting, and I hope you enjoy them too.
Looking into the darkness, you can feel your heart racing, the heaviness of sorrow and dread take control, and the voice inside you says, "Don't go in there." Now join your hosts Ashley Ernie and Bill Reed as we venture down the weird and mysterious.
Find the Don't Go In There podcast on your favorite podcast listening app, and remember, don't go in there.
What's up, everybody? My name's Tim from the Shut Up and Dad podcast, and I hope you're enjoying this show. If you're looking for some laughs after you finish listening to this episode, come check out Shut Up and Dad. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and your favorite podcast platform by searching Shut Up and Dad, or simply head to our website, shutupanddad-podcast.com, where you can listen to episodes, read our blog, and find links to our show. That's shutupanddad-podcast.com.
This is the part of the episode where I'd be bringing you some E3 news. However, I unfortunately was unable to find any decently written articles to bring to you. Most of the articles that I found were so poorly written, I could barely read them. It gave me a headache. Unfortunately, that means I'm not going to actually have any E3 coverage this week. However, you are more than likely to check out websites like CNET or GameSpot for all the E3 coverage you could possibly handle. Unfortunately, that means that this week is going to be a pretty short episode, so I guess I'm on to the final thoughts. And now for the final thoughts. First, I want to apologize to you, my audience, for first promising you coverage of E3 and then not being able to fulfill that promise. Unfortunately, none of the articles that I found that covered the E3 event were of high enough quality for me to bring to you. So unfortunately, there isn't any E3 coverage this week. I'm hoping in the next few weeks to find some articles that are worth bringing to you that covered the events of E3. So keep your pants on. Don't worry about it. I will bring you some coverage, even if I have to talk to people myself. In other news, unfortunately, I haven't heard back from the Yugioh judge program whether or not my application has been accepted to cover the event in Portland at the end of August. As soon as I hear from them, I will let you guys know, even if I have to put out a special episode just to do it. And I'm hoping that I will be able to attend the event, whether as a judge or as a player. I do need financial help in doing that, though. I can't afford it on my own. So if you want to support the show and want to get coverage of YCS Portland, make sure to go to patreon.com and subscribe. You can subscribe to the show for as little as $1. And I wanted to let you guys know that as part of the Patreon subscriptions, the special codes for t-shirts will soon be available. I've recently set up an account with Teespring to be able to create t-shirts for Hazardous Verbal Waste for you guys to purchase. You could also go directly to the Teespring store, which I'll make sure to have a link in the show notes, which you can find at hazardousverbal.com. Just navigate to the show notes page and find the show notes for this episode. I wanted to give you guys an update that I have paid another $5 on my pre-order for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution for the Nintendo Switch. I'm almost halfway there to paying that off. I also started a pre-order for Gears of War 5, so I'm going to be making sure to keep you guys updated on that as well, whether or not I stick with the standard version or if I upgrade to the Ultimate version or one of the special editions. And hopefully I'll be able to get some gameplay videos up of that when it comes out, as well as some gameplay videos from Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution once that is also released. So that's pretty much all I have for this week. If you guys have any comments or questions, I'll be happy to read them on next week's episode. You can get a hold of us through email. The email address is hazardousverbal@gmail.com. You can go to hazardousverbal.com and fill out the Contact Us form on the contact page. You can also send us a Skype voicemail, which if you do, I'll be happy to play that on the air on the next episode. The Skype ID is Ichimoto1. If you think you have something to contribute to an episode, please contact us. You can contact us through any of the methods I've described. You can email me an MP3 of an audio comment, and I'll play it in the next episode. If you would like to be a guest on the show, and you think you have something to contribute as a guest, contact me, let me know. we'll set something up. I'll be happy to bring anyone on. Last week we had a great guest from the Piecing It Together podcast. I'm hoping to collaborate with him again in the future. Again, that's pretty much all I have for this week. This is Shiro-chan signing off. Peace.